Hello, it's me. Who closes the door like that? Ugh. Okay, I look super chunky in the arms, but that's in real life anyways. So, I told myself once I hit 300 subscribers, which isn't a lot, I know it's not a lot, but I told myself once I hit 300 subscribers, I would make another video, and here I am with 300 subscribers, making another video. So, it was between the story time about the time I used to work at White Castle, Apple, going like an Apple because I cracked my phone and I had to take it to Apple, which was a complete horror story, and a TMI tag, which, I don't know if people want to see that, I don't know. A TMI tag? What's that called? A tag about me. What's a TMI? I don't even know. Why did I say TMI? Creepy. Okay, so, and then I decided, well, only a couple people actually really want a tag about myself. The Apple one, it's a good story, but it's not as interesting as the one that I want to tell today. And don't mind my reckless hair because I don't even know what to do with it nowadays. Alien head on. Okay. Okay, so how do I even start off the story about the time I used to work at White Castle? I'm not gonna say any names because ain't nobody trying to get sued or beat up or anything in that matter. So, time I used to work at White Castle, I only worked at White Castle for about a month and a half, a whole exact month. I don't even know. I could not stand working at White Castle. For one, all of my managers, every single one of them except for one, I really liked her. Oh my gosh, this hair. I really liked her. I'm just gonna hold my hair like this the whole time. I really liked only one of the managers, just kidding. And she was the only one I could get along with because, first of all, it was two older managers. They had to have been late 40s, one of them, and the other one like 55, I swear. And then my other boss, the main boss, like everyone was completely terrified of him. Had I known this before I got the job, I would have walked out on the first day. I wouldn't even have applied. Okay. First of all, there's a lot of little incidents that hint this is a red flag and you shouldn't be here. Red flag number one. When I first got the job there, everybody was telling me that this girl quit because one of the managers, he was a guy, used to call her names, a lot of names, I'm not gonna say them, and that he used to call her a lot of names and tell her, you know, go do this, you, and go do that, you, and she got fed up of it and she quit. And that was like the rumor going on when I started first working there. And I was like, oh, that's not okay. Like, why is he even still working here? And I hadn't worked with him since I started until like a couple weeks later. So I was like okay with not seeing him. And so one day I finally met this guy. And let me tell you, obviously I already had like a bad first impression of this dude, right? So I was like keeping my distance super far. Like he would tell me to do something because he was a manager and I would keep my distance. Like I would just be like, like not really introduce myself or say anything to him because I knew he was a whatever. And so later on throughout the shift, he was just like really rude, like period. Like he was just rude. Like everybody there was so rude, which is my main problem with people. Like, don't be rude to me. I didn't hurt your feelings unless I did and you didn't tell me anything. Like, we could fix the issue. Anyways, so he was talking. He doesn't know me. He's never introduced himself to me. I've never introduced myself to him. We were just working, and it was like, you know, you don't have to be friends with everybody in a workplace. So we were just there working, and I was just listening to what he told me to do. So I was just like standing, you know, like by the fryers where we had the fryers and the grills, and I was like standing in between there, kind of like working in between both. And they were talking, they were asking, my coworkers were asking me if my shoes were non-slip. And I was like, yes, these are non-slip. Like, that's what our job description says, the type of shoes we need to have non-slip. So I was like, yeah, my shoes are non-slip. Let me tell you what this guy did. This guy, I wish I could say his name. This guy literally was like that to me. Like, he legitimately was like, and was like, oh yeah, she didn't fall. Her shoes are non-slip. What? He legitimately like shoved me a little to see if my shoes were non-slip. Like, okay, who are you touching me? And I was like, do not touch me. Do not put your hands on me. I don't know you. And I told him that. And he was like, well, you don't have to get an attitude. You just push somebody, a coworker, not just somebody you don't know, and you're gonna tell me that I don't have to get an attitude. See, now you're on my complete bad side, because don't say something so stupid and irrelevant and ignorant after you just did that. Like, you ain't smart. So then that was that with him. And then I was wearing that day like a ring, it wasn't a promise ring or anything. It was just like a ring that my boyfriend bought me from, doesn't matter where it's from. It was a ring that I was wearing. And I was wearing gloves. These gloves were blue, so they weren't see-through. So obviously he was creeping on me the whole time I was there, because you couldn't see the ring through the blue gloves, which were not see-through. And I was washing dishes while wearing the gloves, meaning my hands were in water, so you can't see my hands like that. There's like bubbles everywhere. And he comes up to me from behind, and this is me standing right here. He's like, so is that a promise ring? And I was like, that's my business. You don't need to know that. And he goes, oh, well, I'm just asking. And I was like I said, that's my business, and you don't need to know that. So he just walks away. And that was my experience with that manager. And I was just like, who are you? Like, every time I would walk into work and he was there, I would completely be so irritated just as soon as I walked in. And after I had those little incidents with him, the next day I called my boss. And I clearly said, I do not want to work while this manager is working. If you need to schedule me around his schedule to the point where I don't work with him, or you need to fire him or suspend him, do whatever you need to do, but me and him will not be in the same room and in the same presence at the same time. It's not gonna happen. And my boss freaking tells me, oh, well, you don't want to lose hours just because you don't want to be around somebody you don't like. And he's like, I'll have a conversation with him and I'll get everything straight so you can work. And I'm just like, did you not just say the words that came out of my mouth? Like, I'm not working with him. I do not want to work with him. He's not somebody that, you don't just go pushing people and getting in people's business like that and not even have introduced yourself. Like, how rude and disrespectful can you get? And I told my boss that, and he was like, all right, well, we'll have a talk with him, blah, 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 blah. So I go to work like 2 days later, and I guess they made him apologize to me, and we had to work again with each other. So it was just like so annoying. So after that, like, he got the vibe, like, do not talk to her, don't mess with her, just be her manager. So I didn't really have any other problems with him after that. And I never really told anybody that, so mom, if you see this video, that's what happened. But then after I met that guy, I met this lady. Woo, did I meet this lady? I met this lady, I was about to say her name. I met this lady, this polite, innocent old lady. She hated me. She legitimately did not like me. Why is it that every time, and it's not even just me, it's every time I go to a job and there's younger girls around and the boss is like an older lady, she has to hate on the younger girls. Like, why are you mad? What did we do to you? What did we do to you, sweetie? Nothing. So this girl, I've never met her ever. The first day that I meet her, it's always like the first day, like, bad impressions, First day that I meet her, she tells me, oh, you're not wearing gloves. She grabbed me by the arm like this and pulls me and takes me to the glove section. Girl, my elbow is dark. You need to put on some lotion. and takes me to the glove section to put on gloves. Do not rip my hand away from her so fast. Do not ever let anybody that you do not know touch you, ever, ever in your life. And that is something that my mother has taught me. So she was like, oh, honey, you need to put on gloves. Girl, I snatched my arm away from her so fast. She legitimately almost got smacked in the face with my hand on accident because I pulled away that fast. And she was like, oh, honey, you need to put on gloves. Grabbed me by my arm, whatever. I pulled away. And then I was like, do not touch me. I simply told her like that. I was like, do not touch me. And she goes, oh, wait, can you please put on gloves? Oh, can you please not touch me? Oh, I was so mad. And then I like took off my apron, I took off my hat, and I was like, I'm going to the bathroom because I was like, what is your problem? Like, what is up with you guys and touching people? Like, you don't make sense. So, mind you, when I'm at work, when I'm in a professional place where you have to be nice to people, I'm nice to people. I don't give people attitude. I know I can have a very attitude-looking face, but when I have to be in a work environment, I don't act like that. Like, it's not professional. It's not right. You just you just do what you're supposed to be doing when you're in a work environment. And touching people, being rude to people is not what you're supposed to be doing. And so with this lady, that was my first bad interaction with her. And I just, like I said, threw everything off and I was like, I need to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, came back in. She didn't bother me for the rest of the day. And I was just like left alone. I think I left like a couple hours after her shift had came in. So it wasn't that bad. But a couple of days later, I had worked with the same old lady. And she, I guess after that, got bad vibes from me because I talked to her and I told her not to touch me and, you know, whatever. And so that whole freaking day, I kid you not, she was giving me the hardest attitude. She was giving me the meanest, rudest comments. And so I used to always work the fryer, which was disgusting. I would leave with like a layer of grease all over my face. Oh, it was the worst thing ever. But anyways, I used to work the fryer, right? And you're supposed to always have fries ready because it's drive-through. Like, there's supposed to be fresh fries ready, you know, coming in. So that's what I would do my job. This hating lady had the nerve to tell me, you're making too much fries. Don't you know that they're supposed to be... And I was like, this is what, you know, the guy who hired me told me to do. So if you have like another way of doing things, you know, you could tell me and I'll do it while you're working. And she goes, well, and I was like, okay. And I was just doing what she told me to do because being polite, you know, it's what you're supposed to do at a job. And so I was just listening to her, you know, doing whatever. Comes break time for me to go on break. And I asked her, I said, because we get free food while we're working there, so, you know, my hungry self always gotta eat the good stuff. So I told her, is it okay if I make my grilled chicken on this specific grill? Because there's specific grills. If you make a veggie burger, it goes on the veggie, you know, grill, or regular burgers goes on regular grills, whatever, chicken goes on a different grill. You get the point. So I asked her, because I didn't really know which grill was which because they did not train me correctly at all. I didn't know anything while I was there the whole time. I was just going off of what everybody taught me. So, like what I would watch people do, not what everybody taught me because they didn't teach me nothing. Only the nice coworkers. But anyways, so I asked her, I said, hey, you know, so-and-so, is it okay if I use this grill to make my grilled chicken? And she goes, oh yeah, hon, that's fine, you can use that grill. So I said, okay, I'm gonna use the grill. And then she goes, make sure you clean it afterwards. And I'm like, okay, common sense, clean it afterwards. You didn't even need to tell me that, but all right. So I start making my grilled chicken. I'm super happy because, oh girl, the waffle grilled chicken and gravy from White Castle is so good. Anyways, I can make a whole video about how good it is because I love food and I'm fat, as you can tell by my arms. Anyways, so I started making the grilled chicken, you know, putting butter on it, freaking flipping it side to side. I'm done making the chicken. I put it on a plate, put my waffle, put my gravy, and I put the plate next to the grill. And as I'm about to clean the grill, this freaking lady comes to the other side of where I'm standing, while she completely stopped what she was doing on the other side, which was making orders for people that are waiting for her in the drive-thru to come around the other side and tell me. She literally goes, I guess I have to be your babysitter, and starts scrubbing everything. And I was just like, you guess you have to what? Literally crickets were in my head. And she's like, I guess I have to be your babysitter and clean this after you. And I was like, excuse you don't have to be anybody's babysitter. I am 17. I am perfectly capable of cleaning something, first of all. Second of all, I wasn't even done doing what I was about to do. I was literally just about to clean it while you stopped everything that you were doing to come over here to my side and hate on me. Where is your reasoning? And she goes, oh, well, it didn't look like you were going to. So she would just say smart stuff like that to me all the freaking time, every time I would work with her. So one day I texted my mom while all of this drama was happening, and I told her, Mom, this freaking lady is getting on my nerves. Like I'm gonna go crazy, like nuts. And my mom tells me, well, if you don't have a talk with her, I'm gonna go in there and have a talk with her myself. And Lord knows how that would have went. So I said, I was so nervous. I don't know why I was nervous, but I was nervous. And I was like, but I was so mad this whole time. And I went back in there and I said, Sandy, what time do you get out from work? I said her name. Just kidding, her name wasn't Sandy, I made that up. So I said, we're gonna call her Sandy. So I said, Sandy, what time do you get off of work? And she goes, I get off, just about an hour after you do. So I said, okay, well, when you're finished doing what you have to do, I need to have a talk with you. And I said that like in front of all my coworkers, but I didn't say it with an attitude. I was just like, when you're finished doing what you have to do, like, I need to talk with you. And so I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so then after that, I tell her, she's like, oh, and all my coworkers were like, oh, like, what are you about to tell her? Like, you a boss, this, and that. And I'm just like, y'all are so annoying and nosy. Like, don't even try to, no, I don't like any of you. Anyways, so then I tell her, what was her fake name? Oh, Sandy. I tell her, Sandy, I need to talk to you. And she goes, okay, okay, sweetie, I'll have a talk with you. Whatever you need to tell me, you could tell me. So I was like, okay. So then, she's like, she went to the office to do I don't know what, and then she comes back out and she goes, okay, Brianna, you can talk to me now. Like, what did you do? Put a microphone on you and have, evidence of I said something rude to you? Because that's the type of person that she is. Anyways, she is like, okay, you can talk to me now or whatever. So I was like, okay, I stopped what I was doing. We went to go have a seat, and I talked to her and I said, you know what? The way that you've been talking to me is completely rude and disrespectful. And if you have a way with how I do things around here, and you don't like how I do it, if there's a specific way that you want me to do things, you can tell me and you can let me know. It's your job to do that, but it's not your job to sit there and make rude comments, because I know that's how you people like to talk to each other around here, but I'm new, I do not know any of you, and I'm not one to be picked on or made rude remarks about. This lady wants to sit there and start talking about how I make the fries, and she starts talking about the fryer and how it's detailed, and like trying to take off the fact that I'm telling her that she needs to stop being rude to me, and she's like explaining to me, like the times and make the fries and all this dumb stuff. And I was like, okay, like I understand that, I know that, you're just being completely rude to me for no reason. And she goes, do you know what this lady said to me? Do you know what this freaking lady said to me? She says, oh, well, I have a daughter named Brianna, and I just get confused with you and her. What? Because you get me confused with your daughter, who probably looks nothing like me, just because we have the same name, does not mean you can talk to me the way that you talk to your daughter. Are you freaking drunk? Like, don't even do me, please don't. So then I literally said that. I was like, just because, whatever I just said, I told her that. And she goes, you know what, honey, you're right. And I apologize for any way that you feel, but I'm not trying to act a certain way towards you. It's just because I thought that you already knew how to do everything. And I figured that, you were just not doing things right and blah, blah, blah. And I said, either way, you still do not talk to somebody disrespectfully like that and assume stuff. Like, first of all, I was trained on one thing and one thing only, which was the fire, which is why I know I was doing everything perfectly right, and she was just picking on me. So that was that. I had to have a whole talk with her and told my mom and all this stuff. So that was that second situation. The third manager, she was just like so like stuck up and like, and like she had her favorites. Like, she wouldn't ever talk to me, but she would like go laughing and talking with her other coworkers, which I didn't care because I'm not there for you to talk to me. I'm just like, you could tell, like, I notice things like that, you know what I mean? So then the main boss, the general manager, the big guy, tall dude, he looked like Big Bird. Honestly, he really reminded me of Big Bird. This guy. My friend quit because of him. You know why he quit? Like I said, these people have a problem with touching you. This guy, as soon as he walked into the room, everybody would be quiet. Nobody would talk. Like, everybody would be scared and like watch what they say and do everything perfect when he was around. And when he was around and we had customers, he would legitimately yell at you and say, and like, if you would like ask like, okay, like, is this correct? Like, blah, 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 blah. He would say, you need to stop being stupid. You see it in front of your face, blah, 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 blah. Like, he would say rude stuff like that all the time. One of my good friends, she quit because when he would tell us to do things, when he would tell her specifically to do things, he would literally nudge her, like, come on, you need to hurry up, like, stuff like that. And she wasn't gonna put up with that or anything, so she quit because of that. And first of all, we're in the right mind, whether you're a boss, whether you're higher than somebody or not, do you feel a need to sit there and literally nudge somebody like that? Like, you don't know people, like, you just don't do stuff like that. Like, what if she had like a broken rib or something in there? Because he would do it hard. Like, this dude didn't care about losing his job. Like, he really didn't. And he didn't lose his job, and he should have, because she called the corporate and they still didn't fire him. So they're probably corrupt. And so comes to me, and he never really picked on me because he knew that I didn't know how to do anything, because he knew he failed at training me, basically. So he would never say anything wrong to me or tell me, anything bogus. He would just always boss me around and tell me what to do, which I guess was his job. But, so one freaking lovely day, he decides to clean the fryers. When you clean the fryers, they have to take out this big square thing on wheels with long, thick pipes. Like, I'm not talking about like a little thin iPhone charger pipe. Like, imagine this, but as thick as like my head probably, and with thick plastic around it, like super thick plastic around it, right? So keep in mind, the fryers and the grills are literally like this length away from, like, I'm not kidding, like this length away from each other. So we were all walking in like a really thin space, like all the cooks and stuff. So we're walking in a really thin space, and I was specifically making onion rings. I dropped the onion rings. This guy, when he was finished cleaning the fryers, completely left that huge machine on the floor while he wasn't even using it. It was just there on the floor, like, didn't even care to put it away. I was specifically making onion rings for an order. And this makes me so mad. Okay, just chill. Okay, I was making onion rings. You know, you have to drop the onion rings in the fryer when they ring. You know, put them up, put them in a box, whatever. So I was putting them in a box, and I'm walking. I'm trying to walk like over this big thing so I don't trip and fall. I'm trying to walk over this thing. What happened? I fell. Knees and arms first. Like I fell like on the floor like a dog. Like that's how I fell. And I fell and got up so quick because I was like, ain't nobody about to be stepping over me in this small space. So I got up super quick. And when somebody falls, like, that's not something that you take lightly because I could have broken my knee, I could have broken my freaking elbow, my arm, anything. And the first thing that this guy told me, my manager, my general manager, the biggest manager that there was there, the boss, the freaking jefe, whatever you want to call him, the president of White Castle, was there helping us cook the orders. And the first thing he tells me, get up, you need to make another onion ring. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Boy, I was so mad. I was so mad. You're gonna see me legitimately fall and smack myself onto the floor. Like this wasn't even like, even my coworkers around me were like, oh my God, are you okay? Like help her up, and like, you know, but this dude wants to tell me to get up and make another onion ring. Excuse you? So I was like super dumbfounded by that. Like I couldn't even think to say anything. And he's like, you know, get up and make another onion ring, whatever. And I was so dumbfounded by that. I couldn't even talk. So first thing I did, like I left everything there. I got up. Literally my knee was completely red. I wish I knew how to edit better so I can insert pictures of my knee and my arm, which were completely red. And not even a whole day passed and my arm right here was bruised. Like it was all bruised, like completely bruised. And my knee was like, the top layer of my skin was like completely like shedded off. And I was super frustrated. I legitimately limped to the back to like chill on like against the wall or whatever, because there was nothing there for me to help myself with. And you know, some of my coworkers came to the back and they're like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, that looked like it hurt, which it did. And I'm just like, so mad. Like, I was just like, nobody please talk to me before I go off. So my boss, while I'm in the back, like trying to clean off my knee, trying to clean off my arm, which was both bleeding, like not a lot, but it was bleeding. And he tells me, Brianna, hurry up. We need you back over here. You need to come and you need to come finish this order, blah, 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 blah. And I was just looking at him like, you're crazy. You're actually legitimately psycho. So I stayed in the back and I grabbed like a wet towel and I put it over my arm and over my leg. And the whole time, this dude is yelling at me, come on, you need to come over here. You need to get ready. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I was just like, I just fell. Like, I legitimately just fell onto the floor and you're continuously telling me that I need to get back to work? And he goes, he freaking said, it's not my fault that you fell. It's not my fault that you fell. Once again, it's not my fault that you fell. It's not your fault. It's not your fault, bro. Who left out this big old fryer with freaking pipes everywhere connected to the fryer? This big old fryer cleaner, I mean. Out in the middle of the floor for anybody to trip and fall. It could have been anybody, but it just had to have been me. It just had to be me. And I told him that, and he was like, well, you know, still, it's not my fault. You should have looked, blah, blah, blah. And I was so heated. I literally walked out, and I went to the bathroom. And I called my mom and I told her. My mom like literally got there in 3 minutes. I kid you not, she got there in 3 minutes. And as soon as my mother got there, as soon as my mom walked in through the door and he figured out that that was my mom, this dude, a whole new person, he's like, oh my God, do you need help? Do you need a first aid kit? I have some cooling gel. You know, I can help you, you know, if you want to sit down and rest, you know, that's okay, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't need anything from you. All I need for you is to give me this incident report so I can write down exactly in specific words what you did to cause me this injury. And I need to get out, like right now. Gosh, this freaking man, legitimately had the nerve to say, well, do you think you can come back later, after your knee and your arm doesn't hurt anymore? Because, we need you back here and you need to get back to work. Like, how would you guys feel? Like, legitimately comment down how you would feel and what you would do in this situation. Because in this situation, I was furious. I was so mad, and I was yelling at him, and I was like, how are you gonna tell me, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was going completely off at him. And then, so he takes me to the back to get an incident report. This video is 30 minutes long. Girl, if you watch this whole video, you're real. But anyways, he takes me to the back to get a freaking incident report paper. Just my luck. The printer wasn't working. He's like, oh, it's not working right now. Can you come back, another day so that you can file it out? Boy, you just don't want to get in trouble. Don't tell me your printer doesn't work. I will call your boss and tell him that I fell and bleeding, had bruises, and skipped my knee because of you. Like, do not play with me, which I did call. And Lord knows if they did anything about that and about him, which I'm pretty sure they didn't, because I'm pretty sure he's still there. And so I went out there and I told my mom, I said, he's acting like the printer doesn't work. And he's there like pushing all these buttons, trying to make it seem like it don't work. And, oh my God, I can't fix it. I was so mad. I was so mad. So I go tell my mom, and she's like mad too. And the next day I come in, and he's like, you can come in tomorrow and I'll be here and you can fill out an incident report and I will turn it in. I showed up tomorrow. Was he there? No. I showed up at the specific time he told me to be there. Was he there? Was he there? Sometime was he there? No, he was not there. You know who was there? The other boss that I said didn't really pay attention to me because she blah, 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 I don't know what her deal was. She was there, and she just so happens to be buddy with the boss and tells me to fill it out. And I got there and I was like, oh, where's so-and-so? And she's like, oh, he's not here, but I have your incident report. Literally, that's how she said it. Your incident report's in the back in the office. You can grab it and fill it out. Literally, that's how she said it. I'm not kidding. That's how she sounded. So I was like, okay. Filled it out, wrote everything down in specific words, MLA format, and everything. And I gave it to her. And later on in the day, I see her like reading it and stuff. Obviously, if you're like best friends with somebody, you're not gonna snitch on them, right? So she was the one that had to sign off on the paper saying that somebody read it or whatever. Somebody had to read the paper so that somebody knows that happened and something needs to be done about it. She was the one that read the paper and signed off on it. So I'm pretty sure that never got reported to anybody that was supposed to know about it, and he was supposed to get in trouble about that, and he didn't. And it's like, I don't even want to get you in trouble, but it's like when you're that careless as a boss, and when you have this many people that don't like you, and when you're physical with your coworkers, that's just not right. Like, you don't need to be in a work environment like that. Like, I'm sorry, but you need to go. Look at that fat. Ugh. But yeah, so that was that incident. And, I just think it was like, that was like my worst fast food experience ever. Like, the job itself was super easy. Some of the coworkers were super cool. It's just when you have higher bosses like that and people that treat you like that as a coworker, you don't want to be there. You don't want to do a good job. You know what I'm saying? So for all you, anybody, managers, bosses, whatever, working like that, if you're acting like that and if you do that, I don't know what to tell you, because you're going to have a lot of bad karma coming your way. I guarantee you. So yeah, man, that was literally my freaking White Castle experience. And you know what? Be your own boss. Grow up. Have your own business. Don't be working for nobody, because you know what? It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. Have people working for you. You be the boss. Be a good one. Because you're gonna be getting sued. I don't know, people are gonna be calling corporate on you, and that's just not good. That's just not good. Like, be a good person. What is so hard about that? What is so hard about being a good person? I look so oily and dumb. I'm not even oily. It's just this lighting. Oh yeah, by the way, that was the end of my story. My working at White Castle story. You know what? Like, just thinking back on all of that, like, did that really happen to me? Like, did that happen to me? And I'm sure there's way worse in other places. But I believe it. I believe it. If you got any other horror stories, let me know. Like, I want to read them. But yeah, that was my story. I quit that day. Actually, I quit that day, and I told him, I said, you know what, I quit. This old man wanted to keep me there. He was like, oh, well, you know, I'm sorry about everything that happened, but, you know, we really need people, so I really convinced you to stay here, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, I quit. I'm not working with you. And he goes, oh, well, okay. Like, I don't need you. Like, excuse you? You're not going to be treating me right. I'm not gonna work for you, excuse me. I'm legitimately not gonna force myself to work for somebody I don't like. There's 1,000 other jobs out there, and you don't need to be in a place where people do not treat you correctly. End of my story. I quit. I got out of there. I now work for people that I completely adore and love them. They are the funnest people. I am the only coworker that they have hired so far because it's a small business that they have. I am the only coworker that I have. Nobody bothers me. My bosses are amazing. They're husband and wife. They're the best people that I've ever met in my life. They're legitimately like super fun people. Like, they have no problems with anything that I do. They train me correctly. They talk to me correctly. We're like family already, and I barely started working with them. But I love them. And yeah, they're super good. They pay me more than what they paid me at White Castle. Come on now, which was minimum wage, and I get paid not that much more, but more. You know what I mean? So open your horizons to tons of people and tons of jobs, because if you don't find it there, you'll find it somewhere else. You know what I mean? So that was the end of my White Castle video. So let me know if you liked it. If you didn't like it, do what you do. Hate on me with these hate comments. I've been getting a lot of hate comments. It's actually pretty funny, like how people have the nerve to actually argue in comments. Like, what are you doing? Where are you going with your life? Like, chill. Like, can't y'all just chill? Like, if you got something negative to say, go ahead, say it, comment, whatever. But it's like, don't put other people down super badly. Like, as soon as I see comments like that, like, they just get deleted and nobody sees them. So don't even bother hate commenting, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was that. My video lighting, my video background, whatever, everything's gonna probably be changed because I just don't like it, you know what I mean? Things are gonna get new and improved. And yeah, everybody was popping on my Kylie Jenner video. Everybody was liking my Brianna Rants video. And I figured, why not make a story time, because, you know, we're growing a little. And if you watch this video all the way to 37 minutes, you're actually pretty lit right now, because you know what? I don't know who would watch a whole 40-minute video, but I really don't care. If you watch it, you watch it. If you don't, you don't. I ain't mad at you. I probably wouldn't even watch this whole video. I'm just doing it just to do it because I like to. Okay, guys.